Buying a rental property is not just about collecting rent every month. The right investment can help you build equity, generate additional income, and create long term wealth if you know the numbers and they make sense, and if you have the right strategy. Guys, thank you for tuning in to our episode of Teach Me Tuesday. We are going to talk all about real estate investing, purchasing your first rental property. I know a lot of times we kind of talk to the, prospective home buyers that want to get out there and buy their first home. But today we want to kind of switch it up and talk to those who may want to really get into investing and buy their first rental property. So let's kind of jump right into it, guys. We have the crew here today. All three of us is present to talk about this great topic. I know Wilmot, you love this topic. You talk to a lot of investors. Gavin and I, we're like little baby investors. We gonna stick our little toe in it, and we're slowly building our portfolio. So why do people invest in rental property, guys? Why do you think that's even a thing? And why do you feel like it's an attractor to some? Who want to tackle that one first?
Will might like to, he like to grab that mic like 5 heartbeats. Go ahead, brother.
Man,
Like put you on the
so
spot.
it's a good. I heard this guy. Y'all might have heard him say this before, and well, you might have heard his name before. His name is Grant Cardone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he says you want rental income for the drip, for the drip,
For the
you know,
drip.
for the
Okay.
drip, not the drip like this drip, right? Like, but the constant drip every month of
Thank you for
income.
clarifying.
You know what I'm saying? The
Right.
constant drip. You want the drip. Yeah, you want the drip. I know what drip you talking about, but you want the constant drip every month of rental income every single month. And I see what he's talking about.
The residual income coming
Right.
in. Gotcha.
Right. So the monthly rental income. So that's what I'm gonna start off with, guys. I don't know if y'all want to comment on that, yeah, or
Yeah,
not.
no, I mean, to add to it, I mean, I think another reason people invest in in rental in properties and want rental income is also the equity growth. I mean, people want to
Mm,
build generational wealth, and there's no better
right.
way to do it than off of the back of real estate. So I
Mm,
think that's
Yeah.
another solid one.
And then last but not least, I think sometimes people, they don't think about right away the tax benefits of having rental property as well. If you, kind of depends on what tax bracket you're in and you're looking for a way to kind of offset what you got to pay back to Uncle Sam.
right.
Having some rental property allows you to write off stuff legally, so that you can kind of, maybe get a refund back or definitely curb your tax bill. So you don't want to
Right.
sleep on the tax benefits as well. That's always a good one too. Because there's so many different tax strategies. We won't go too far in the weeds with that one, but just to, kind of not belabor the time, let's jump into number two. So what should you consider before becoming a landlord? So if you put yourself in the shoes of, okay, hey, I want to be a first time rental property owner, a first time investor, I guess. I mean, can you call yourself an investor if you only own one property?
Yeah,
Maybe
Absolutely.
if
not.
you make an investment, you're an investor. In
I
my
guess so. I
opinion,
guess if you, as long as you invest in something, you're an investor. So
right.
let's call it that. So let's say you're a baby, investor. What should you consider before you become an actual landlord? What are some things, Gavin? I think this was a big one for us. Like what were some things that you would say as a tip to a first time landlord?
Well, I mean, things that you want to consider is like, how are you going to find a tenant? For one,
Yes.
it's one thing that to definitely go out and make an investment and own something, but
Right.
to see
Right.
the return, you got to get a tenant in there, and you got to figure out, is that something you're willing to do yourself, do the legwork to get a tenant, or are you going to now pay somebody to do that? And if you're going to pay somebody, do you have that in your budget? Like, do you have the means to do that and still be
Yeah.
profitable or still make the money that you were hoping to make off of the property that you're investing in? So that
Yeah.
was my biggest thing. Like,
Yeah.
how are we gonna get somebody in here?
Yeah, but it's not just anybody, right? Because you want the right person, right? You want the right tenant. You can get some bad tenants that, don't take care of your place or don't pay on time or has all this drama going on. And so it can cause a ripple effect of other things. I think for us personally, that was a big lesson, is how do we secure a good tenant? Because I know we talked about in previous episodes, like all these things, but not to say all, but a lot of renters have bad credit. And maybe that's one of the reasons why they're renting. And so as a landlord, you want to be able to, secure a tenant. And most landlords sometimes are a little bit more lenient on the credit aspect. We don't want someone who's been, truly evicted and has like all this other stuff going on, but we want to kind of still gauge, can they truly pay this rent and pay it on time, and things like that. Woman, what do you see? Do you help your investors who do more long-term, rentals or whatever, find tenants, or do you kind of not touch the property management side too much?
No, I don't. I don't touch the property management side, and for reasons I'm already busy in sales or what. So I don't, don't get me wrong. There's a place for that. I've seen people, be able to do sales and also, property manage in the lawful way. I'm gonna make sure that's clear, in the lawful way,
In the
because I
lawful
don't think
way.
you I don't
What does
think you
that
can
mean, the
practice.
lawful way?
I don't think you can practice. And correct me if I'm wrong. If someone's out there watching me, but I do know that it's a thin line. You can't say I'm gonna be a property manager and be a real estate agent and sell. So it's either you got to pick one or the other. I know with property managers, if you get your property management license, you can't sell real estate, but if you get your real estate license, you can property manage as well.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
didn't know that. Okay.
yeah, so you just you gotta know the laws when it comes to that. And, I know some real estate companies have their own property management sector in there that property manage. But get back with the question. Before becoming a landlord, I think you gotta determine what kind of landlord you want to be. Do you want to be hands-on? Meaning you don't want managing the tenant. You don't want making sure everything is fixed. You don't want answering the calls at 1 o'clock in the morning when something goes out. You know what I'm saying? Is that you? You got to understand, is that the type of person, type of investor I want to be? Some people are like, man, fine, I'm cool with that. I don't want to pay a maintenance, pay for property management or whatever. But me personally, I think a great property manager is worth every single dime. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to worry about that, because my thing is I want to buy more, and I know I can't handle all of my properties, and I'm still doing my day job. So yeah.
That's a good point. I love it. I love it. All right. So let's go into number 3. So what type of property is best for a first investment? So like, should a first time investor buy a single family home, a condo, a townhome, multifamily duplex? Like, how would they know which one would probably be the better bang for their buck? Probably is the best way to say that.
Well, I don't think there's a one fit all type scenario.
Right.
I guess it depends on that investor and what they're looking for. I think me personally, if a good opportunity came out there where there's a multi-unit property, like 1 to 4 units or whatever, I would say, man, that might be a good start, just simply because you may be able to benefit from more revenue, because you'll be able to have more tenants in that property. Or if it's a single, for those who are just getting their feet wet, if you're going to be doing it yourself, and you may just want to deal with one tenant at a time. So it could just be a single family or a condo, or whatever is going to best meet your budget in purchasing it. Because again, going to get a 2 to 4 unit investment property might be a little bit more expensive than going to get a 2-bedroom condo, or a 2-bedroom townhome or something, and renting that out. So it's just up to the investor.
Yeah. What do you think, Wilma? Did you want to weigh in on that one?
Yeah, I think I can go a lot of different ways with this one, but I think that I don't want people to get scared of when they hear multifamily or multi-unit. I think when you first hear that, you're like, oh man, I don't know. That sounds like a lot. But I want you to look at it from this standpoint, okay? From a risk standpoint. If you have 4 units, right? Of course, like Gavin said, most likely it's probably gonna be more expensive than just buying 1 unit, okay. But if you got 4 units and you got 4 tenants in that unit, that's good income. But guess what? If one tenant moves out, guess what? The mortgage is still getting paid. Maybe even if 2 tenants move out, guess what? The mortgage is still getting paid,
Right.
or even one more tenant moves out. Guess what? Some of that mortgage is still getting paid. But if you
Yeah.
only have 1 unit and you got a mortgage on that property, guess what? Someone got to pay the mortgage,
So yeah.
so
This is true.
so so if you look at it from a risk standpoint, guys, it's like you got more upside, and your risk is kind of slightly lower when you have multiple tenants taking care of the mortgage, and also profiting from it as well. So
Mhm.
just a different perspective. Hopefully
Yeah.
that it makes sense.
It does. It makes complete sense. I think that actually answered number 4 for us when it came to like some house hacking and things like that. Like
Hmm.
sometimes it is better to buy a multi-unit property, especially if you're kind of like you're kind of like in that dual role, whether you're a first-time home buyer and you want to be a first-time investor. Sometimes you can merge those two roles together, and instead of you as a first-time home buyer going in to buy just a regular single-family home, you might look at that duplex or you might look at that quadplex or
Right.
something like that to kind of see, hey, I can live in 1 unit,
Oh man.
still, maybe put down a lot less because we're going to, go into number 5, like how much does it cost to buy an investment property or a
Right.
rental property these days, and then collect rent on the other units. I mean, you definitely can do that. And I think that's such a savvy strategy. I know when my
Mm,
kids get a little older, all the things that I know now, when
Mhm.
they go off to college, let's go find us a duplex. Let's go find us a multifamily property so we can pay for you to live in one and find you some tenants, some college roommates or something for the other ones. Because typically speaking, when you purchase, a rental property versus just a single family, your primary residence type property, the down payment is drastically different. When you're a
mm,
first time home buyer or you're going to be what we call like occupying that residence as your primary residence, typically you can get away with putting down anywhere from 0 to 3.5%. But if you are truly, a, a first time uh, real estate investor and you want to invest, at minimum, sometimes you got to put down between that 15 to 20% or more. So
right.
that's a
Right.
big difference in down payment. And it can save you some money, kind of using a strategy of living in one and kind of renting out the others. Do you see that often, Wilma? I know you deal with some first-time home buyers and you deal with a lot of investors, but have you seen the kind of, I call it the merge of the two, the first-time buyer and investor all in one?
Very, very few. Okay. I will say that, like, I think people are a little scared about that, and I get it. You
I
might
can
be
see
like,
that.
man,
Yeah.
I don't know. But then also, if I don't think, like, sometimes if it's a husband wife situation, they
Good point.
it's kind of hard to sell my wife on, babe, we gonna live in 1 unit and we gonna let the tenants stay in the other unit. It's kind of hard to sell the wife on that. But I had a client last year. I don't know if he's watching, but like he did the house hack, and man, like hand over fist, like he was he's doing really well with that house hack by. And but this is the thing with his wasn't a multifamily. His was actually a single family where he stayed the way the house was built. He
Mhm.
could have he was renting out different rooms like that.
Mhm.
And then it had a basement where it had a separate situation where someone can come in from one side, another person going from the other, and there was rooms down there. It was set up perfectly for a
Right.
house hack. And
That's really
so there
good.
was opportunities. He saw that opportunity, jumped on it, had all the first time home buyer benefits to go with it as well. So it
That's
turned out to
good.
be a really good investment.
That's really good. All right. So before we wrap up for today, Gavin, how do lenders qualify rental property buyers? Kind of give us a brief
Yeah,
synopsis of
real quick. Well,
yeah,
I
what we
mean,
look for.
so I mean, we qualify as first-time home buyers. People who are primary residents, mainly based off. It depends on if you're a W-2 employee or self-employed. It's going to be based off of your income, tax returns, things of that sort. But we can get when you're an investor, there are different types of loans. There DSCR loans where it's just based off of the rental income for that property. Like, hey, if the rental income is going to be greater than or up to what the home, like what the monthly mortgage payment is going to be, then guess what? You're approved based off of that. We're not looking at credit. We're not looking at what your monthly income is. But then you have, but if you are, if you are a 1099 employee or you are a self-employed, we look at it. We can look at, do a bank statement loan as an investor. We can do a 1099 loan to where, yeah, you may write off a lot of your income, but hey, on those 1099s that you got for the last 2 years, we'll look at that and take an average of what your gross income was and calculate it that way. So there is some savvy ways of not necessarily having or showing on what you file or what you in your regards to your taxes, but other ways that you can still qualify to be an investor or to buy.
Well, there you have it, guys. So just kind of keep in mind that your first rental property definitely don't have to make you rich overnight. You definitely can put together a plan and some strategies in place to kind of help you budget for, this rental property that you may be looking to do so. If you guys ever have any questions about this or anything mortgage or real estate related, please feel free to reach out to any one of us on any of our platforms, and we'd be more than happy to help you guys. We'll definitely thank you guys for tuning in. We ask you guys to check us out on our next episode. Have a great day.